How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we're looking at NAT because they went up pretty significantly today. They went up 6.5% during the day, and they had a large spike partway through the day, which I could not find for the life of me what happened until I went on the WeBull app, so I'm going to talk about that later. But the news came out on a popular stock show that one of the hosts was, or one of the people that was on it, was bullish on NAT. So the stock price shot up really quickly. And if you weren't paying attention, you might not have even seen it because it happened so quickly. But I want to go through that, kind of talk about what's happening with NAT going right now. I do these maybe twice a week or so for NAT because I have a lot of people that like these NAT videos, so I try to keep you updated as much as possible, but I do talk about other stocks. So if you like that, please give me a thumbs up on the video. I really appreciate it. It helps push this out to more people and hopefully help more people out. So we'll get right into it. We won't talk too much before we start. NAT went up. They were down a little bit when they opened today. They closed right around $4.34, $4.35 yesterday, and they started at $4.31. Shot up, went back down, kind of volatile in the beginning, and then all of a sudden the stock price went up to $4.62, actually $4.66 later in the day, but it went up to the 460s just all of a sudden out of nowhere. It went up 20 cents in just a couple minutes, actually 10 minutes or so. So what happened was one of the people that was on CNBC's Fast Money halftime report, which is on obviously CNBC, which is a company or a television show that talks about stocks and a lot of people tune into it. They talked about how there was some potential upside potential in Nordic American Tanker. And this is Pete Najarian, so he's on CNBC a good amount, and it sent the stock price up like crazy. So like I said, it went up 4% within 10 minutes after that, and then it kept going up throughout the rest of the day and ended pretty significantly up. After hours, we're up to $4.60. So if anything happens in the morning, I'm making this on Tuesday night, and you'll see it Wednesday. So if anything happens, I won't be able to see it. But right now we're up to $4.63 or $4.60 after market. And I think we have some really important stuff that's coming up, some important stuff that's happened recently for NAT stock. But I just want to say too, before I go any further, if you haven't already signed up for WeBull, I really like WeBull, and I'll show you here. I only heard about this at first through the WeBull app. Like, I'll go to the ticker, which NAT I have on my stock watch list, and it came up with news on NAT stock there, as you can see. And it talked about how Pete Najarian was talking about the upside potential in NAT. But even before that, like that was 3 hours ago, as you can see by the timestamp, it was 2:45 p.m. The stock shot up around 1, and I saw around, I think it was right around 1, that someone had commented on there. You can see in the comment section that someone talked about it on CNBC. So it made sense to me what happened. As you can see here, it was 5 hours ago that they had posted this, which was a couple hours before that other news article, and I could not find anything, but I found it here that they had posted on it. So if you haven't already signed up for it, it's really helpful for things like this. Like, imagine NAT goes up to 460, then 480, and then 5, and then you're just wondering what happened. You really want to know the latest up-to-date information. So I would sign up for that app, and you get 2 free stocks if you deposit $100, one that's worth up to $1,400, so consider it. But going back here, we also have news. OPEC and Russia may ease oil production cuts. So this is really why we've seen a decline in NAT stock and the other tankers in general, I think, because we were up around $9, honestly, for NAT, or $7 at one point. But we were even higher a couple months ago. Like early May, we were up at $6 a share. But as time goes on, we get lower and lower tanker rates, it seems like. So we have been getting less money for our tankers, and that is reflected in the stock price. So we have seen it go down to about $4 recently, and it slowly started to tick up because the spot rates have gone up recently, just over the last week or two. But that is only going to continue to go up, most likely if we have an increase in demand. So more countries need oil, and then they can charge more to ship oil over with these tankers, or if we go into another contango where people are buying oil just to store it in these tankers. And one of the reasons that people might buy oil is the fact that it gets lower in price. So a lot of people might buy it and just hold it, and that only occurs really when there's an overproduction of oil. So over the last couple months, the OPEC countries, the oil producing countries, have really tried to cut their oil amounts because we went to those negative rates a few months ago. So they want to increase the cost of oil so that way they make more money on what they're selling. However, they extended these through July, but it's becoming more clear that people are wanting to ease these cuts. So unless these countries decide to continue this, they're talking about having just a 7.7 million barrel cut a day, as opposed to the 9.7 million barrel a day cuts that are happening right now. So 2 million more barrels will be produced every day, which is a large amount, especially because we haven't really opened up the economy fully in the US, and a lot of other countries are still kind of on lockdown too. We're getting back to where we were, but the fact that they're easing cuts is really important. Another thing that we've talked about many times here is the amount of shorts that are invested in NAT. So NAT's stock price, the market cap, is right around 650 to 700 million depending on when you're looking at it, and there are about 17 million shorts. So at $4, let's say a share, which I know it's more than that now, but at $4 a share, that's about 65 million or 68 million dollars worth of this market cap are in short. So about 10% of the market cap is shorting the stock. So if the stock price starts to go up and the shorts have to buy back in, like great days like today, and even a few days ago, we had a really good day. So from Thursday last week, we're up about 14%. So these shorts have to start buying back into the stock because otherwise they'll lose their shirt, and that causes the stock price to go up higher. And this is kind of a continuing process that happens. Now, if we go over here too, we see the tanker market report. So I actually just signed up to be part of the daily tanker market report I actually reported on and did a video on last week. So you have to sign up for an email newsletter for that. So I did that today, so hopefully I get more relevant information the day of. But if anyone has that for the last few days, I'd love to see it if you comment it below. But otherwise, just looking at NAT's report, I talked about this last weekend, but these crude carriers, the Suezmax, which is what NAT has, is up 40% on the week. So that is a significant amount. That's still much lower than we've seen for all of 2020 and even the average of 2019. But again, just like always, what we're talking about is July is usually the worst month or one of the worst months of the year for these oil tanker rates. So we're going to have those earnings announced here in the next month, and hopefully we see some great numbers. If this continues to tick up, then we will probably continue to see the price go up. And for days like today where nothing really fundamentally changed, it's just that someone famous talked about the stock, it went up significantly. Now, he's not the only one, Pete Najarian, who has talked about the stock. If we look at financial education, he has also talked about the stock, and I get some flack for talking about him because some people think that I'm just talking about him to get a rise out of people and to get more views on my videos. But he's talked about NAT, he owns NAT, and he has a very wide following. If you've seen, I've posted several videos on him and how his influence can affect these small market cap stocks. And if you haven't seen it already, there's a playlist. I can link it down in the description below. And it goes over how he can influence his stock price. He talked about Planet 13 stock yesterday, which is a smaller stock even than NAT. I think they're right around 200 to 300 million in market cap. He talked about them today, and they were up 11% in the pre-market hours. So before the day even started, he talked about them last night. And automatically when they started the market today, they were up about 11%. So if you haven't already gotten WeBull, there is another reason to get it. They let you start trading at 4 a.m. Eastern time up until I think 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if Financial Education were to release a video before 8:30, you could go in and buy the stock for a small market cap stock. This isn't financial advice. I'm not saying to go ahead and do this, but you could also buy the next morning before some of these people have gotten in. But it's just amazing to see. I mean, that's a 10% return. He's done this other times too, where I believe he talked about the stock right here too, and it went up 26% that day. So you can see his influence with these small market cap stocks. Then if you just bought and sold the same day, you might do quite well. There's just another point of interest there where other people are talking about NAT. There have been articles talking about the Robinhood effect with NAT, how a lot of eyes are on NAT versus something like DHT or STNG, which are considerably cheaper for the earnings that you'll get with them. So the price to earnings ratio is a lot lower with those stocks, and they also transport oil. Those are ones that I talk about a lot here on the channel, but they are a lot cheaper than something like NAT, but everyone's looking at NAT, so that is why a lot of the time the price gets pushed up further. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for commenting below. I'd be interested in hearing, are you holding on to NAT? Are you selling? Are you still liking these regular update videos? I appreciate it. And if you haven't signed up for WeBull, I know I talked about them several times. The link is in the description below. If you feel like you want to support me in another way, if you want to look into M1 Finance, they're one of my favorite brokerage apps. I also have a link to them down below. I do weekly updates where I talk about what stocks I'm buying, and I believe I'll be doing an update just tomorrow. I'll be releasing it on what stocks I bought this week for that portfolio. I invest $100 into a dividend only portfolio. And if you want to sign up for that, it really helps me out too. And you can open your account with just $100. So I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.